Howdy and hi, and welcome back to Westward Quests. I'm your host, Steve West, and today we're at Hollywood Studios here at Walt Disney World. We're going to explore Batuu East, or the Star Wars land here in Orlando. I'm excited to show you this stuff because I'd done some research. I actually read the books when they actually came out, and I'm wanting to share a lot of this kind of crazy backstory history with you guys as far as what I know and remember from it. It's been a little bit, but come on, let's get going. So welcome to Hollywood Studios. So some notes to point out here. So one of the things that I did is I went online last night, or probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, to make reservations for today. Somehow I clicked the same day after this park was closed, and it allowed me to do reservations for it. So I was kind of confused when I went in and they said, hey, you haven't done your park reservations. I said, no, I did. And I pulled it up, and it said, no, it's Saturday. The same day, even after this park was closed, I had somehow reserved the ability to do that. So my recommendation to you guys, definitely double check the date, triple check, and you'll have a great time. He was very kind. He showed me all the steps to go through it and be able to come in today. But just as a point of contact for you to, point of reference for you to kind of look at. And then here, let's say, Hollywood Studios, Walt Disney World. It's a bright, sunny, beautiful day here. So I do love walking down this like main street, kind of old-timey Los Angeles setup here. It does remind me of a little bit of the California park and what it has to offer. You know, the red trolleys, the Art Deco style. And you get the kind of Mandarin Chinese, Mickey and Minnie's runaway railway at the very end there. Pretty cool stuff. And then to Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. 10-minute standby line on Star Tours. Don't mind if I do.
IC360 sensation. It's the secret way to see the galaxy, and it's only on Star Tours. Oh, that reminds me. Let's run a diagnostic on the category. The worry came.
And then, of course, Moff Gideon's helmet.
$139.99.
And heading towards Batuu East. It's kind of this weird transition. So one of the things I did want to point out is how different in what the look like and how it changes as you walk through this kind of like New York streets area and where the shift happens. You get Goofy and Max way over there. But watch as like the lights and the rocks and everything change. There's a bit of better change at the Batuu West location, but this one's pretty cool. It goes from this kind of like streets to this like weird rocky formation type shape. And here we are. So my point of references for this book that I use for these kind of factoids or information on this is going to be called Black Spire. And hey, if you look over there, there's the Black Spires themselves. And then this would be like the rebel or resistance outpost that they talk about where they land and get actually set up. So this is all kind of post version of the book, and the fallout of what happens is kind of where this area takes place at. And so Leia Organa sends out Vi Marathi to kind of set up a forward operating base with Captain Cardinal. And it's kind of the stories of how that unfolds. And there's a droid with them and kind of all the fallout from all that stuff that happens. The First Order and how they, go out to these outskirt locations. But this is them getting everything set up, at least initially. It's a great book. I loved it. So you get a very kind of one side or the other. So that's the resistance on that side. This is kind of more the neutral ground where the marketplace is. And then on the opposite end is going to be where the First Order is. And they have their camp set up. And you can tell like theirs is a little more established. They have a little bit more of kind of the forward operating base kind of set up towards it. And they're on the hunt for Rey and everybody else. I think this takes place between episode, I would say 8 and 9 is where the story kind of takes place. So that's where we're sitting at here in this world. But the little attentions to detail I love. You go look over here in the water. A little Dianaga. Yeah, this is it. They talk about all of the stores and all the people who run these places, Doc Ondor and everything else in the books. So it's kind of nice to see it all up here. So in the book, one of the things that they mention is that there's a tree here. It's kind of like a wishing tree, but I don't see it any longer. And I think maybe it's just the East Coast version of it doesn't have it. I'm not sure. But there's a tree where they tie these little strings to it, and the strings kind of represent this hope or ambitions that they're trying to accomplish. And then as the strings kind of disappear, float away, then it's kind of like your wish has been granted. But I no longer see that here, and that's something that's kind of interesting. Maybe they just got rid of it, and maybe it's just not something they kept up with. Yeah, it was right here, at least at Batuu West, and maybe it's in a different spot here in Batuu East. Yeah, it's right outside Savi's workshop and the droid depot. That's also mentioned in the book. It's actually where Vi gets her first job. It's kind of like a scrap salvager. But then again, maybe some things have changed. This place has been around for a few years now, and yeah, it's surprised at the level they kept it up with, but you could tell there's certain things that they've added or kind of flexed to as far as how areas have evolved. So you get like the Mandalorian coming out and hanging out, which, you know, hey, is this canon? Is it not? Does it really even matter? It's this was theme park, but I always do. I like that stuff. I always like this little back area. So when I first came to the first one in Disney World, or Disneyland, I'm so sorry, did Batuu West. My son, I have a picture of my son standing kind of here, and he's like holding a drink and he's having a great time. You know, they're not identical pieces of the parks, but they're pretty similar. It's close enough, good enough for government work. The other thing I love is the attention to detail. Like if you look up here, there's like a weird staining on this. It's like a very lived-in universe. And that's what Star Wars is. It's very, you get things that are like the First Order, but even then, there's these wires and things that are hanging off of stuff, and it's a very vibrant universe. It's not necessarily sterile. Stormtrooper, or well, First Order trooper up there. It's interesting, I've never seen him up there before. I talk about one of these as well. It's like a transport ship. This is kind of like where the climactic ending of the story for the Black Spire takes place in one of these. But yeah, this is the First Order camp. All the stuff everywhere. Yeah. There's like mini games on the app and things like that here, which is kind of cool. But one of the things I love are these like cages with like weapons and helmets and droid parts and just things that would be the very kind of, like I said, lived-in universe. Welcome to Batuu. That's Olga's Cantina right there. One of the things that they have is like no monkey lizards as a rule. And then I remember walking here for the first time and just being blown away. You just walk up to the Millennium Falcon. I think at the time too, one of the cast members was like, it's the biggest hunk of junk in the galaxy. It's just like, yep, I love it. I love every minute of this. It says Helmet of the Wren, which I'm not familiar with this, but that's what it looks like. Please cast member for help. Looks pretty interesting. I don't know the reference for this, and maybe I'm just blinded by what else content is out there. Seems like there's so much. So I got the hot tipia, rice. Looks like a all right, cheers. So, in the First Order in the books, they're like going around and harassing everybody. That's Vimerati.
For the Order. For the Order. I see. Then I'm sure you can tell me this agent's code name. What is it? What is the code name of your team? Really? Yes. We've seen that in classified reports, which we see many of. Good to meet you.
So that's actually pretty interesting. I've never seen Vi and the Stormtroopers actually in the same area.
Well,
So, yeah, new things happen all the time around here.
carry on, Agent.
Well, last thing I wanted to cover is this like exit transition, right? As you walk out of the park, what does it look like? How does it unfold? So I think that that's kind of cool, right? This is, we went in one way, now we're kind of leaving the opposite direction. This is lights and lanterns and things of that nature. They're all making this shift. And as you continue to kind of walk out, you're kind of abruptly hit with Toy Story Land. Yeah, I would say that Batuu West does this transition a lot better. You get kind of much more of an immersion, but overall, good times. So a quick sign off here at Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios. I had a great time. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got to see something that you liked. If you can, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to see more of these types of videos. I'm excited to keep bringing this stuff to you, bringing this content. And until next time, let's connect again. See ya.